And raising his eyes towards his disciples, he said, Blessed are you who are now hungry, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who are now weeping, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, and when they exclude and insult you, and denounce your name as evil on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice and leap for joy on that day. Behold, your reward will be great in heaven, for their ancestors treated the prophets in the same way. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. But woe to you who are filled now, for you will be hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you will grieve and weep. Woe to you when all speak well of you, for their ancestors treated the false prophets in the same way. Luke 6:20 to 26. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of my Bible analyses. So, the script you just heard is often called the Beatitudes. I find this passage very interesting because it's very often misinterpreted. At least that's what I believe. The factual background to this is Jesus is on the plains speaking with his disciples as well as some others. Others are around listening to him. And he says a lot of things here. So let's go through them one at a time, and I'll tell you what I believe is meant by this. So, blessed are you who are now hungry, for you will be satisfied. What does he mean by that? Blessed are you who are now weeping, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, and when they exclude and insult you, and denounce your name as evil on account of the Son of Man. So these 3 points, in my opinion, are a direct reference to the situation that many people are dealing with at that time. So the everyday person, the everyday Jew, and even the Gentiles that are flocking to him are dealing with this. They're dealing with a situation where there's always not a lot of food. You're hungry, you're poor, and you're also being ridiculed if you follow him. You're an outcast if you follow Jesus at this point. So he's reaching out to them. These are unhappy people for the most part because of the conditions in which they are. So he's acknowledging their conditions. He's acknowledging where they are now. So he's got to give these people hope. That's his message, and that's his mission here, really, on earth, is to give people hope, wake them up to the Word, wake them up to God, to what is waiting for them. And he says, rejoice and leap for joy on this day, and behold, your reward will be great in heaven. So no matter what's happening to you now on earth, think about what is waiting for you if you believe, if you follow the teachings, if you are a disciple of Christ, for lack of a better word, if you're a follower of Christ, you're going to be rewarded. So don't worry about these things. Yes, of course, you're going to try to survive the best you can, but don't take it so hard because it's not the end of things. It's just what you're experiencing now, and that there's better to come in the next world. And he's also priming his followers and the people for his next message, which is going to be love thy enemies. So in order for you to love your enemies, you have to first come to grips with your situation. Because if you're starving and hungry and you can't laugh, you're crying all the time, you're being ridiculed, you're not going to be too apt to accept your enemies and forgive them and love them because of what you're experiencing. So he's got to deal with that first. He's got to tell people that what you're experiencing now is not important. What's important is what's to come. So this sets people in the right mindset to say, okay, then they're willing, if they understand that this is just the earthly experience, that the afterlife is going to be great, it's going to be wonderful, then it's okay. Then the human mind can understand and accept love thy enemies. All right, so what about the second part of this? The second part of this where he says, Woe to you who are rich, woe to you who are filled up now, woe to you who laugh now, woe to you when all speak well of you. What about that? What is he saying there? And this is the misinterpreted part, I believe. It's just my opinion, but I believe this is the misinterpreted part. I've heard many people use this to try to advocate that he was a communist, that he was a socialist, blah, 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 that he's saying it's bad to be rich, it's bad to be well-to-do, etc., etc. I don't believe he's saying that at all. What I believe the purpose of this part of the sermon is to warn people who are rich, who are wealthy, who are well-to-do, to not value that so much that you forget your obligation to your fellow man, that you forget to be humble, that you forget your obligations as a follower of Christ and the Word. Because if you fall asleep because of these earthly wealth, this earthly luck, this earthly fortune, you're going to miss out, because you're going to do things that are not going to get you into heaven. You're going to do things that will make you not worthy. So it's basically a warning. It's not saying that if you're rich, you're automatically bad, or if you have good fortune, you're definitely not going to heaven. That's not what he's saying at all here. I don't believe that at all. So for those that would try to use this to say that he was a communist, that he was against the rich, that rich is bad, that if you're wealthy, you're doomed. No, that's not it at all, at least in my opinion. Look, that's my opinion. But the real message here is to not take advantage of that fortune to the point that you forget about your obligations, that you're just a creation of God, and you have, no matter what your status is here on earth, we're all the same. You have to make sure that you live up to the Word, you follow the Word, and that is really taking care of your fellow man. And I think the final message here is this entire passage is a warning to his followers, to the future Christians, that it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a rough road ahead. This is all new to the world. This is something that is going to be opposed, and we've already seen how it gets opposed, but it's going to be opposed by the governmental structure. It's going to be opposed by the existing belief structure. It's not going to be an easy road. So he's trying to prepare his folks, prepare his followers for what's to come. So how I relate this passage to modern life is that this is a reminder to each and every one of us, no matter how successful we are, how much worldly success we encounter, we should never let it so engulf us that we forget our obligation to our fellow man, that we forget our obligation to follow the Word, to follow Jesus. Because if we do, we're missing out on the afterlife, which is eternity. So it's just a healthy reminder. That's how I take it. So anyway, that is my interpretation of Luke 6:20 through 26. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your interpretation. So please leave me a comment if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me. If you have a different interpretation, I'd love to hear it. But that's my thoughts on this one. And until next week, I'd like to say, as always, thank you for watching, and God bless.